Welcome to the Inject Creativity Live Show. My name is Rob the Robot from the Adobe Education team. This is a free online show for primary, secondary and post-secondary educators interested in enhancing digital literacy, communication and creativity in the teaching and learning process. Here are your hosts, Dr. Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Thanks, Rob, and welcome to the Inject Creativity Live Show, the show based on encouraging creativity in all areas and levels of education. Welcome, Aaron.
Hi, Tim, and welcome to everyone who's joined us live for this episode being recorded at 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time on Wednesday, the 9th of March, 2022 via the Adobe for Education YouTube channel, as well as the Australasian Adobe in Education Facebook group.
And we encourage you to say hi in the chat and let us know where you're from and where you teach.
And while you're in the chat sharing a bit about yourselves, we would like to do an acknowledgement of country.
We respect and honour all Indigenous people from the lands we reach out to during this event. We acknowledge their stories, traditions and living cultures. We acknowledge them as the first educators and the first creatives, and we commit to building a brighter future together.
I'm coming to you from the Wurundjeri land in the Kulin Nation, otherwise known as Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
And I'm coming to you from the country of the Yagara, Yugara and Ugarapul people, there we go, around the area otherwise known as Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
During this episode, we'll be showing you a new, simpler version of Adobe Character Animator that is now in public beta.
We will enjoy a special demo from New Zealand, Adobe Education Leader Emma Wise, and our special guest, Educational Thought Leader, will be AEL Brett Zalakis from New South Wales.
We'll be promoting a number of Adobe-related education resources and professional learning opportunities.
We'll be hearing from Juliette Bentley and how she's managed with the recent floods in Queensland and New South Wales, and our behind-the-scenes guru, Adobe Senior Customer Success Manager Jerry Wong, will have a special quiz question for us.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Well, Aaron, let's have a look and see who has joined us and said hello. We've got, it's Matthias, all the way from the Netherlands, alias Soft. Oh, hello, Matthias. Tell us, Matthias, what time is it in Rotterdam at the moment? If you want to let us know in the chat, that would be great. Speaking of people from all sorts of parts of the world, Tim Cosgrove from Toronto has joined us. Hello, Tim. Thank you for joining us. In fact, I'm going to give these guys a big round of applause for joining us all the way from the Northern Hemisphere, which is rather special. So thank you very much for whatever time it is that you've made the effort to get here. And Double Cook, alias Mark Christie, greetings from, is it Larrakia country in Darwin? That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. And who else have we got here? The Creative Nation Academy, and that would be Roland, I'd imagine. Roland from Manila. Good to see everyone. It's 3:30 here in the Philippines. That'll be 3:30 in the afternoon, Tim Cosgrove. Not like sometimes it's 3:30 in the morning when you join us.
Indeed. We've also got Adrian Brooke joining us from Melbourne. Excellent. Oh, and there we go. Matthias has let us know that it's 8:30 a.m. where he is.
Oh, that's all right. Just the day is starting for him. Wonderful. And it's Tim Goodsell. I think he's from New South Wales, from memory, Tim. Another Tim, a great name, by the way, Tim Cosgrove, Tim Goodsell. Really wonderful name. I'm here and it's not raining in the Gong, down in Wollongong. You're finally finding it's dry. They've had a lot of rain in that part of the world. We'll be touching on that soon. And we've got someone who we haven't met yet before, so welcome, Wayne. And just checking South Golden Beach, New South Wales. Oh, it's terrific to have lots of new people and lots of people who have been part of this show for a number of years now.
Oh, and there we go. And Tim has confirmed, Tim Cosgrove has confirmed it's late. It's so early. It's 2:34 a.m. where he is. And we've also got Shane joining us from Perth in Western Australia. So we've got a lot of reach and different geography for this episode. Welcome everyone who's joining us from across the world.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Thanks, Rob. Now, Jerry, I'll get you to get that banner off the screen. Shane's already said hello there. Plenty of publicity for him. Thanks, Rob. Let's now welcome our good friend and the Inject Creativity Live moderator and techie whiz, Jerry Wong. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'll be looking out for your comments and questions in the chat and posting the most relevant ones. To encourage you to use the live chat, I have an Adobe-related quiz question for you. Name one of the free built-in puppets found within Adobe Character Animator.
That is a good question there, Jerry. Kind of a little bit of thinking music I think we need while we're thinking of that. Let's see, there's a bit of thinking music in the background to see who's going to be coming up with the answer. All you have to do is name one of the free built-in puppets found within Adobe Character Animator. And we have an answer already. It is, I think it's Roland, but his title there is Creative Nation Academy. He's saying Red Monster. So that deserves a round of applause. As you can see,
three responses in the same couple of seconds. So we've got Chloe and Dr. Applesmith. So a nice variety there.
Nice.
Excellent. And look at them all. There are so many built-in puppets, but there are hundreds and hundreds of other puppets that you can download and use in the amazing Adobe Character Animator. And we'll soon be looking at a new, simpler version of Adobe Character Animator that is now available on public beta. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you in a few minutes.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Now let's meet our guests for this episode, and welcome to the stage Adobe Education Leader Emma Wise from New Zealand and
Good
Adobe
evening,
Education Leader Brett Salakis from New South Wales.
Hi and welcome to the show. Now, Emma, it's great to have you here and joining us. For those watching who haven't met you before, tell us about your school and what you teach.
Kia ora, everyone. I am joining you from Kirikiri High School in the Bay of Islands in the far north of New Zealand. Our school is in a rural community, but we have 1,560 students from year 7 to 8, and I look after the art department there.
Thank you, Emma. So, Brett, it's always a delight to have you on the show. For those watching who haven't met you before, tell us about your new role at Hewlett-Packard.
Yeah, always great to see you, Tim and Erin. Very, very exciting. Out of schools at the moment and have begun this year with Hewlett-Packard, HP, as many people know, just the lovely initials there. But I've got a fantastic role as education ambassador. So my entire job is to promote good digital pedagogy and practice. So it's something that those of you who know me, those of you who know me know that that's something I'm very passionate about and devoted a huge chunk of my career towards promoting through Aussie Ed and the like. And now it's something that I get to do not as my side hustle, but as my main role, my main job, and very, very happy to be doing that and extolling the virtues of HP and more importantly, extolling the virtues of good digital practice in schools.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Emma, tell us something interesting about yourself that not many people would know.
So I guess what most people on here probably don't know is I actually look after the National Subject Association for Visual Arts here in New Zealand. It's called ANZI. We're a collective of all the educators from primary right through to tertiary who teach in the visual arts sector.
That's really interesting. Yeah, because when I went to high school, giving away my age, visual arts always just meant basically graphics. They didn't sort of incorporate the more creative side of things. So it branches the technical into what you would classify as the more creative areas.
Yep, we cover everything from design, animation, photography, your traditional arts like paint, printmaking, and sculpture as well.
Thanks, Emma. Brett, how about you? What's something interesting about yourself that not many people would know?
Well, I have actually brought a little friend along, a special lady who has a special part of my life. Yesterday, International Women's Day, but I do share my house. I've got a house of boys here, but I do share my house with a special lady, and I'd like to introduce you to Penelope. She's
Do we need a
only,
warning on this?
she's only little.
She's even giving a little jawline for the camera there.
Penelope, the pygmy python, the smallest species of python in the world.
Oh,
and you've got to
welcome.
love it. As you know, Mr. Kitchen, you know I love my poetry, so gone for a little bit of alliteration with her name. But Penelope, the pygmy python, she's a beautiful lady, and you know what? Very, very calming because she's so little and delicate. Ever feeling a little bit stressed, you've got to be ever so gentle when you're holding her because she's so tiny, and very, very, very good for mental health and well-being because you have to be calm when you're holding her.
Good on you, Brett. Well, they say never work with children or animals, but so far we're going okay. Emma, and what will you be sharing during this episode?
So I'm going to be sharing some basic frame animation and video keyframe work within Photoshop, some stuff that I do with our students at Kitty Kitty High School. And
Brett, what will you be sharing with us later in this episode?
Oh, I'm very excited, and it's quite timely in that it links with what you're going to be talking about with Character Animator, because it also has to do with some deep fake, using some AI to help students who maybe are a little bit shy about using their voice, or students who maybe don't want to be so upfront virtually with their face. Let them actually create a deep fake version of a human to speak on their behalf. It's actually really, really cool tool.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Emma and Brett. We're going to be hearing from you very soon.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Rathke.
Many of you would know Juliet Bentley, who's been a guest on the show on many occasions over the past couple of years.
Now, Juliet's been a victim of the recent flooding and terrible weather conditions that have hit southern Queensland and New South Wales in recent days.
Juliet, tell us a bit about what's happened at your place.
Well, I think, Tim, you might even have a picture of the end of my street. It was an absolute deluge. It was diabolical. In that photograph, you can see the water. There was actually close to being waist high above the road, above a deep chasm of a creek that normally dribbles, the Inogra Creek. And as you can see, the gap was pretty much an island for 24 hours. The damage to me, in comparison to other people, is very small. However, to me, it's a big deal. But what I did, I'd like to say thank you for, are the number of people who have come to support. Queenslanders are really good at doing that, and they did so in 2009 with the gap. They did again in 2011, and again this time. But the other thing that's been fantastic is to hear about Queenslanders going to New South Wales and giving a hand there. There have been so many volunteers and people sponsoring things. I was listening to the ABC radio the other day, and they were saying that one donation was of 90 beds that were sent to New South Wales. So people are dipping into their pockets, but they're also supporting one another in lots of ways. And I was very lucky. I have very good friends who got in and took part with me to try and make my home habitable. As it is, I may have to go and rent somewhere else for a spell, but in comparison, I have a home. I've got lights, and I've got half a house of power, and I think we just need to be the best people we can be, best versions we can be, and be hands that help other people where possible.
Yeah.
I say it brings out the best in people, Juliet, and you probably experienced that yourself with so many people supporting you. But for those from overseas who don't realise what's been happening, southern Queensland and northern New South Wales and around the Sydney region have been hit over the last few weeks with, they say it's about a 1,000-year storm like this. They've never had this type of weather before, and it's been absolutely crazy. So there's been a lot of people who have been much worse off than Juliet, but we wanted to bring Juliet onto the screen just to share and to empathise with all the other teachers and students who have been affected by this particular disaster. And Erin, you're not far from Juliet. What's it been like for you?
Before I bought this house, I did check the flood maps because I grew up with stories about the 1974 floods. So that was one of the first things I did. And although my house is technically sort of at the top of a very gentle hill, it became an island, and our main road in and out was cut for several days. And a lot of people in our neighborhood lost power and things. So because I'm pregnant, obviously we are not joining the mud army to help clean up, because there's just that risk of infection from cuts and things that we just can't quite reconcile in our heads at this stage. But one thing that we have been doing is obviously sharing information about the road conditions and the road closures, sharing that sort of thing on different community groups, as well as grabbing the odd occasional puppy dog who is covered in mud and is clearly gone for a swim and has been wandering the streets in our area. So we've grabbed, dogs to check their collars and call their owners to try to give them a bit of peace of mind at what obviously for a lot of people is an incredibly stressful time.
Juliet, anything just final to share?
I wouldn't actually mind showing, if you don't mind me sharing, my delightful visitor. Not that I'm competing with Brett, but I do actually I had a visitor that hid and scared my wonderful builders who removed the ceiling from my garage. Is that okay?
Share your screen, Juliet. Go for it. So I'm pretty sure we've got a bit of a theme happening here with our animals.
I think we might be. There you go.
Just get you to share what's coming up now.
There you go.
Wow, look at that.
He was beautiful, but not in the right location.
What type of snake is that, Juliet?
That's a carpet python. This is a fraction of the size of the one that I had at the bottom of the driveway recently, but I've had 4 in 2 months, and this is probably the smallest. So,
but I think I enjoyed grabbing the beagle running up the zigzagging up the center of my neighborhood more than I would have enjoyed taking hold of that snake. That's definitely a job for the professionals. I can handle an elderly beagle covered in mud. I can't handle snakes.
Well, I just
I've got to say, the only other thing I really would like to think we will do from this point is start to look at the First Nations understanding of our rivers and our floodways, and learn from such ancient understanding, because there were so many things that shouldn't have happened historically in terms of just how we've used the land. The Turrbal and Niagara people from my part of Brisbane. And I think that would be a wonderful thing for us to learn from and move forward with.
Well, they say this is a 1 in 1,000 year disaster, and our Indigenous people have been here for a lot longer than 1,000 years, so they probably experienced it. Yeah.
I was about to say, though, they said that the Gap storm was 1 in 100 years, then the 2011 storm was another 1 in 100 years, and this has only been, 11 years?
It's like 1 in a million chances happening 9 times out of 10. The maths don't add up sometimes, don't they? But yeah, so thank you so much, Juliet. We wish you all the best in the recovery process, both you and everyone else affected by these natural occurrences, floodwaters, runoff, everything. All the best of luck with everything.
And we think of all the other teachers and students who might be watching this being affected as well. So thanks, Juliet. We'll look forward to catching up with you briefly at the end of the show.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Well, every so often it's worth checking the beta section of the Adobe Creative Cloud app to see what the talented Adobe product teams have been working on and have made public.
Indeed, the Character Animator product team have been working on a very simple new cut-down version of their app. So Tim's going to give us a quick demo.
It's really exciting, Erin, and I was only just shown this last week, so it's fairly fresh for me as well. So you might recognize some of these puppets, and of course one of the issues we've had with Character Animator over the years is that it's so easy to get started and get the puppets animating in real time, but it's then kind of a bit more complicated to export your puppets or to make them do things that you want to do or add in backgrounds and so on. So we've simplified it. We've made a different version of Character Animator that just makes the whole process really, really easy. Let me demonstrate. I'm going to bring up one of these puppets here. This is Pat. So I've just clicked on Pat the puppet, and Pat will appear on a stage in a minute. And what I'll do is just make sure I calibrate my face with the webcam. So it's coming up now. It's a little button down the bottom right-hand center called Calibrate. So that's just making sure that as my head is moving, Pat's head is moving. One of the things you can't do at this stage is move his limbs. I'll show you how to move the limbs in a different way. So all you need to worry about at this point is the performance, the actual speaking and recording. So I'm going to click Start Record. It'll give me 3 seconds, and then I'll do a quick little recording, and then I'll show you how to animate it further. So I'll click Start Record, get my 3 seconds. Oh, hello, it's Pat here, and it's lovely to be on the Inject Creativity live show with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke. I hope you're enjoying the show. I'll catch up with you another time. Bye for now. So I'll stop the recording. And so all of that has been captured on the timeline, and now what you can see are some expressions. Now, as I hover over them, if I click on that first one, it'll give me a sense of what's going to happen if I use it. So there's a slight little animation there. If I move to the next one, you get another sense like he's laughing in this one. In this next one here, if I click on it, you can see his hands are moving. And if I want to use that, all I need to do is drag it onto the timeline at the point where I want him to make that action. So now when I hit play, oh, hello, it's Pat here, and it's lovely to be on the Inject Creativity live. And of course, I can work out exactly how long, the length I want that animation to go for, and then I might want to change something else, like I don't know, use that one. So I'll just click on that and bring it across to the timeline. So it's a different way of working.
Yeah, it sits somewhere in between the timeline that we have available in Creative Cloud Express Video, but then it's a much simpler timeline than what is available in Adobe Premiere Rush, which is a nice step before Premiere Pro.
Yeah, and what you're actually building here is a video. Lovely to be on the Inject Creativity Live. Of course, we need a love heart as soon as he says Inject Creativity Live. So just test that and then drag that in at the right time. Notice you can sort of put them on top of each other too, so that comes in hopefully at the right time. But what's happening now is once I've done all my actions, I can go up to File, and instead of having to open up Adobe Media Encoder like you have to do with the normal character animator, we can just go to Export, Quick Export, and this will create an MP4 video straight away, which is now going to be exporting out. If I just choose, say, the desktop, that's already there, high quality, click Export, and now all of those animations are being exported out. It'll take about a second, but I'll have it as a video that I can then bring into PowerPoint or Keynote or whichever way I want to go, or into
And what about the background, Tim?
Oh, yes.
Does the...
I almost forgot that. So I might cancel that export because there's some really cool backgrounds as well. If I just come back to the puppet, here we go. If I click on this little button in the bottom center, you can see a bunch of backgrounds that already exist. Now, I probably should have put these in before I did the acting. I'm going to bring him into his office. And what I could do is undo and just re-record again. But you can bring in your own backgrounds, and you can just choose a color, and so many different options here that make life so much easier when you want to create a simple real-time animation in seconds rather than spending hours and hours using something like Adobe Animator. What do you think, Erin?
I love the fact that it's cut down so that you can really get channeling into the creative process and not get bogged down with menu options. It looks fantastic.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? And we're looking forward to it becoming a fully fledged part of the Adobe Creative Cloud. We think about halfway through this year, but don't wait till then. It's now available in the beta section of the Adobe Creative Cloud app.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Now, Erin, the next Adobe Teach Meets event, which might have a character animator session, I can't remember, you might be able to tell me in a minute, that is on March 30 and 31, and we currently have over 130, I like the theme of 30s here, who have registered for these sessions.
So if you haven't registered or promoted this free and unique professional learning opportunity from Adobe, please do so at adobe.ly/teachmeets.
Erin, tell us about the next Teach Meet opportunity.
No worries, Tim. The next set of Teach Meets will be on March 30th and 31st at 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So that's 3 p.m. for us Queenslanders, with 10 great workshop options, and those include Creative Cloud Express, Premiere Rush, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Aero, Acrobat, After Effects, Audition, and Character Animator.
I knew there was a character animator, and Craig Dalmar Power is going to do that one. He's a wonderful character animator presenter. He's a wonderful any Adobe-related thing presenter. So look up adobe.ly/teachmeets or scan this QR code and register your interest. When you have registered, you will receive a Microsoft Teams conference link a few days prior to the events.
So you don't have to commit to a particular workshop when you register. You can leave that decision to the last minute when you join the live session. Our presenters will do a little bit of a pitch explaining what they're doing, and you can make up your mind from there. So hopefully we will see you all on March 30th and 31st, starting at 4 p.m. AEDT.
Hi folks, we are about to be inspired by an AEL, an Adobe Education Leader. AELs are passionate about the use of Adobe tools to inspire creative learning and teaching experiences in the delivery of either primary, secondary or post-secondary curricula. The first step to becoming an AEL is to be an ACE, an Adobe Creative Educator, via edx.adobe.com/adobe-creative-educator. You don't have to be an Adobe expert to be an ACE, just a teacher interested in engaging students through creative digital learning experiences. The ACE program is a free international micro-credentialing program. It only takes a few hours to earn your Level 1 badge, and the focus is on creativity rather than Adobe. Please share this program with your colleagues and get involved. Who knows, you may one day also become an Adobe Education Leader.
Well, it is a delight to have Adobe Education Leader Emma Wise on the show to present to you. Over to you, Emma.
Thank you. So what I'm going to be presenting to you this evening comes out of basically the pandemic. We've had some decisions made at school around students not needing prerequisites to go into our senior courses. That's meant that some of our students have not studied visual arts or any kind of tech-based subject for quite some time. So they've kind of been hiding under a creative rock. And my mission is to try and get them out from under that. And I like to start with some hands-on based stuff. So the first step that we do, I call it a super selfie, and we create a frame animation. So the steps to do that are file, scripts, load files into Stack. And as you can see, I'm working in Photoshop. And I just need to take that up in there. And then I'm going to find a folder of the images. Now, these images have been made using collage and stop motion. So the student's taken a photograph of themselves and then they've added to that with some collaged elements. You then want to load the files in, obviously. And I'm just going to cancel out of that so you don't have to wait for the spinny wheel. But technically, you would tick the attempt to automatically align and click OK to load that. But to save us that pain, I do have a file ready to go, which I'll just open now. So what the scripts process will do is put all of the individual images into a stack of layers, which you can see down the right-hand side of my screen. From there, I want to build the actual animation. And I always get students, especially when they're new to Adobe apps, to think about their workspace. So I'm going to change from photography to motion, which will obviously set the students up with what they need. And the reason why I use Photoshop for some of these processes is so that I can scaffold learning. I've got students that are very confident in After Effects. They've been with us for a number of years, some that are working in Premiere Pro. But for the students starting out, those programs can be really overwhelming, whereas Photoshop seems quite accessible for them. So from here, down in my timeline, I'm going to create a frame animation. And the bit that always trips the students up is you've actually got to click on the button to create that animation. That gives me my single first frame. And then I'm going to make frames from layers. And I can do a quick run through to see how that looks. Now, at the moment, it is actually back to front. So in this little secret menu there, I can reverse those frames, take another look at it. And then I can look at adjusting the speed. And the easiest way to do that is click on the first frame, hover across, and I'm just holding down Shift on my keyboard. I am on a Windows-based computer. And then I can just select one of the drop-down boxes, and I won't go for 2 seconds, I'll go for 0.2. Otherwise you'll be waiting there all night for it to play. And then we have a simple frame animation. Now, this kind of lets the students get introduced to the idea of movement, and it's a really simple kind of hands-on process that they work with. From there, I find students have the confidence to start with something a little bit more complex. So I get them to photograph elements from their, what I call super selfie, individually as well. So just going to flip back to here. And I call these imaginary beans. So you can see there's a number of photos there that we've taken. And just going to load those in so you can see how that process would go. And again, we'll get that stack of layers down the right-hand side of the screen. So once they've got that movement sus, they're ready to look at working with a video timeline. The first thing I need to do here is actually cut out the objects that I want to work with. And the tool I'm going to use for that is the object selection tool. So on my little bird here, just going to click and drag, and that will process to highlight that bird for me, and then I can click layer mask, flick down a layer, and I'll just select the eye. And just stepping through that process. Once students have a grip on layer mask, I find they can do anything they need to in Photoshop. Layer masks are obviously non-destructive, so it means the student can come back and edit anything that they're not happy with. And the wonderful thing about the object selection tool, just selecting this camera here, is it's clever enough to pick up all the little bits inside the camera there. So bits that you would normally miss with some of the other selection tools. And I'll just get those pants there. And I think we need a color in the background. So just down here in the layers palette, I can choose a solid color for the background. That red's probably a little bit intense. We'll go for a nice yellow. And I'm just going to move that to the bottom so that we've got a nice background to work on. From there, we're going to build our timeline. So I'm going to go for a video timeline. And again, I've got to click that like a button. And what you'll see is that those individual layers translate to video layers within our timeline. So from here, I'm ready to animate. And if I look under this little arrow here, I can see my keyframe options. Now, at the moment, that is giving me the option of position, and I've also got the option of layer mask. If I come over into that layer and I right-click and convert to a smart object, what that does is takes that mask and that image together, and then I get the option to transform. Now, transform gives you a lot more options than what position does, because we can resize and move things around a bit more rather than just going from side to side or up and down with position. Once I'm ready to animate that with the keyframes, I click on the little stopwatch, and I'm just going to scroll across a bit. Now, one thing I like in working with students in Photoshop is that they can just free form it a little bit. So I've just hit Control-T on the keyboard, and I'm just going to rotate our little bird around a bit, and then I'm going to keyframe across, and again, Control-T, and then flip that back again. And I'm just pushing Enter on the keyboard to apply that, and I'd go all the way across there and tilt them backwards and forwards. Okay, I would make my way all across to the end there. And just a little tip for you at the bottom here, you can actually zoom in and out with your timeline to make things a little bit more visible on your screen. I'm just going to scoot down and do the pants for us. So again, I do need to convert that to a smart object, and I'm just going to do that on the other layers as well. Convert to smart object and convert to smart object, and then just scooting back to that pants layer, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a tilt with that one as well. So if we scoot through, Control T, and just tilt it a little bit to the side, and then come across and Control T, and a little bit to the side. So I'll just do a couple of little motions on there. Again, I would actually continue those right the way across, but you get the idea that we've got a little bit of tipping backwards and forwards happening, so a little bit of motion. The next thing I want to do is look at making this eye blink, and to do that, I work with layer masking. So coming to layer 2, I believe it is, and I'm just going to drop this down and bring me back to the beginning, so just coming back to the start of that timeline. And now I'm going to add a layer mask. So this is the layer mask tool at the bottom. And I want to take a black paintbrush, and I'm just going to make my brush a bit bigger, and I'm using the bracket keys on the keyboard to do that. And I'm going to just brush over until that eye disappears. And you can see I get that black mask appearing in there. And from there, I can use this keyframe. So layer mask enable and layer mask disable is what I'm going to work with. So I want it to start, and then I'm going to just come over. I've moved my timeline along a little bit, and then I'm going to disable layer mask, and then I'm going to right click and enable, and right click and disable. Now, one thing that I like to do with students when they're first learning the Adobe apps is I like to go through as many of the kind of longer processes as possible so that they can find everything that they need, and then slowly ramp them up to finding out what the shortcuts are. And it just kind of feels like they're scaffolding up in their learning. And so what that's going to create is a little bit of a blinking process in that animation. The next step is I want to add some drawings over the top. So once students are kind of confident with creating movement with images, and if they're not so good at hunting and gathering from magazines, they can of course work with Adobe stock. From there, they're going to want to add a blank video layer over the top to draw on. So to do that, we go to layer and then video layers and new blank video layer. Now you can see that's created a blank layer in there, and I'm just going to move it into the top there. Oops, out of that video group. And so we've got that over the top there. And what I'm going to do now is draw through. Now, again, this is something that can easily be done in After Effects, but students find it much easier to kind of step up through those programs. So I like to get confidence in Photoshop first. So we're going to start with just a bright red line, and just going to draw my way across there. Now, one thing that happens when we're doing digital drawing is that students want the line to continue. Now, if I keyframe forward, and this is my keyframe button here, you'll see that that's disappeared. If I want to view my previous keyframe, I can enable onion skin settings, and that means that when I step forward, I'm going to get a pale version of that. But I don't actually need to use onion skins for the process that I'm going to do currently. So what I have got there is my red line, and I'm going to go Control A on my keyboard, which is select all. And then I'm going to step forward a keyframe and Control Shift V. Back, Control C, and step forward a keyframe and Control Shift V, and then it will paste in. I just forgot the Control C in the middle there. So you'll see I've got identical elements on both keyframes. So now on my second keyframe, I'm just going to extend that line a bit, and then again, Control A, don't forget the Control C, and then stepping forward a keyframe, Control Shift V. And very quickly, I can build up a number of layers there, number of steps in the digital drawing. So Control A, Control C, and then stepping forward, Control Shift V. So once our students are confident in that process, we start to talk about some of the little shortcuts that you can use, things like being able to step forward with keyframes with your arrows and so forth. Now, students that aren't so confident in drawing around objects or elements like to do a little bit of what I call creative scribble. So same sort of process without the copying and pasting. And I could just scribble on a little bit there, changing my brush color, go for something a little bit brighter. I'm just going to scribble there, keyframe forward. And again, students can be quite loose with this sort of process. And it's a good opportunity to actually talk to students about working with brushes as well, and how to import brushes from obviously we've got Kyle's brushes and all sorts of things that you can download from Creative Cloud as well. And so they like to explore different things when they're working with those brushes as well. And you can get quite creative. Once they've got their built keyframing and they've done their digital drawing, it all comes together. And just opening a finished file rather than taking you through all of the steps. And then we end up with something, just waiting for that to finish loading. Oops, it's never good when that happens. So we'll just open that one up again. You get to look at my beautiful photograph from the ocean. My husband and I are very into sailing. We've got a little boat that lives down below our property. And that's my favorite thing to photograph is the water when we're out and about, especially at those kind of low light times where the sun's going down.
Don't you hate it when your whole thing crashes on you just as you...
Oh, it happens all the time. It's just part of being a teacher, I think. How to deal with things when they crash.
Oh, you're doing really well.
Now, one of the really clever things about the Adobe apps is they'll actually recover things when things crash. So if I was a student who had accidentally bumped the log off, that would be sitting there to recover in most circumstances. Now I've got my finished little drawing, and so I've got the blinking, I've got the movement, I've got the keyframes, and I've got the digital drawing. And it's something that students of any level can produce. That's me. Over to you, Tim.
Thanks, Emma. We've got some great comments that have come through. One comment that I just quickly flashed up earlier was from Adrian Brook, he's a higher ed teacher in Melbourne who teaches Photoshop, and even he said this: I didn't know Photoshop could do this. So Emma, it's amazing. You're teaching the masters. And so that's great. I'll tell you what, your students are very, very fortunate to have you as a teacher to show them these amazing techniques and skills. And I can see the passion coming through. The other thing I really liked about that session, Emma, was there's a lot of similarities to what you're showing them that will lead into After Effects.
Yep.
With those layers and the different things. Very, very similar to After Effects. So this is a really good introduction, as you were indicating in your presentation, to get them to that next level, which is amazing. So
yeah,
well
I find if I sit them in front of Premiere Pro or After Effects, they kind of just go, how does this work? But Photoshop just seems to have that image base. They can get their heads around it really quickly, and once they've got it sussed, it's just easily transferable.
Wonderful. And of course, because we've recorded all this, people can go back and look at it frame by frame if they wanted to work out where your cursor went and all the techniques. So you've just been teaching the masters and also people who are relatively new to Photoshop. So thank you so much, Emma. Really appreciate your time.
No worries. Glad to be here.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Do you know that Adobe education leaders like Emma are part of the highest level of Adobe's education community programs, a very exclusive program with only about 64 teachers qualifying in the Australasian region. And just last week, we welcomed Anastasia Turina, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, Senior Lecturer in Visual Communication at Queensland University of Technology as an AEL. Let's give her a round of applause for joining that community. There we go. Round of applause.
Congratulations, Anastasia. Welcome to the AEL community. Adobe education leaders are active members of the Adobe Education Exchange and are very passionate about using Adobe applications to enhance digital literacy, communication, and creativity skills in schools and universities.
They regularly share this passion with a network of educators wider than their own school or faculty and help support the work of the Adobe and education teams around the globe.
If you're interested in becoming an AEL, the first step is to do the Adobe Creative Educator Program and get your ACE Level 1 and 2 badges via https://adobe.ly/ACE.
If you'd like to be guided through Level 1, Erin and I are running the next Be a Creative Educator course on the 22nd of March from 4 o'clock to 6:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So look up adobe.ly/creative educator for more information and share this site with your colleagues and wider education networks.
And of course, if you look up adobe.ly/ACE and you don't have to wait until the 22nd of March to become an Adobe Creative Educator. So you can do the Creativity for All course on the Adobe Education Exchange at any time, completely on demand.
The Creativity for All course is one of the many great on-demand courses on the Adobe Education Exchange. Other popular courses at the moment include Teach Creativity with Adobe and Khan Academy, Preparing Students with Essential Creative Skills, Engaging Video Projects in the Classroom, Adobe Acrobat for Teaching and Learning, and the new Adobe Creative Cloud Express in the Classroom course.
Look up edx.adobe.com to access these and other amazing courses.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
Erin, at last, I'm heading up your way to Brisbane for the first time in a long time.
And that is very exciting, particularly for me, because believe it or not,
You've
Tim and
gone
I
frozen on me, Erin.
Oh, I can still hear and see
There we go.
you. So yes, I was getting very excited.
You've been excited by that? Or
I was so excited I must have frisked out the computer. So I'm excited because Tim and I have only actually met each other face to face on one day back in February 2020. Everything else has been with the picture frame.
Very two-dimensional. Well, I'll be in Brisbane for the Australian Computer Society Foundation Big Day In event at the University of Queensland on the 21st of April. Now, that's going to be involving close to 400 high school students, even though it's at the university.
And while Tim's in Brisbane, the Australian Computer Society are making the most of his trip by organising a special free and all-day professional learning event for educators on Wednesday, April 20th.
After getting lots of requests, just this week, the Australian Computer Society have announced that this will now be a hybrid event, both face-to-face and online.
So now anyone can get involved. Find out more and register at adobe.ly/ACS-20 April 22.
It's going to be great to be back in Brisbane again and be back face-to-face with teachers. We'll be covering the way creativity can be enhanced and developed with Adobe's low-lift and high-impact applications, such as the new Adobe Creative Cloud Express for Education, formerly known as Adobe Spark, but also featuring Premiere Rush and Photoshop Express. And they're applications that are freely available to all K-12 schools. And we'll also be looking at the very popular Adobe XD app during that course.
And part of this day will go towards level 1 of the Adobe Creative Educator Program. So get involved and share it with your colleagues, whether or not you live around Brisbane.
And Jerry, I'll get you to put that slide back up one more time in case people need to get that link again, just to make sure you've got that covered. Here it comes, adobe.ly/ACS-20 April 22, and that'll give you all the information that you need to know about.
Hi folks, we are about to be inspired by an AEL, an Adobe Education. Hi folks, well it's now time to welcome our education thought leader for their 5-minute gem to inspire us and make us think more deeply about the importance of our role as educators.
Well, it's the first time I've made that mistake, putting the wrong video at the start of the thought leader piece. But fortunately, it was relevant because Brett Salakis is not just a great thought leader.
But Captain Mistake.
Leader. Brett, it's a delight to welcome you back to our education thought leader for this episode. And let's hand it over to you.
Yeah, you're going to like this one, Tim. Hey, Aaron. Look, I know I tend to have a lot of passion and I talk for a long time and I've got a lot to share. But today I've got something really fast. It's actually a crazy cool tool, but it's something that won't take long to explain. So I'm actually going to talk about a tool called Synthesia. Now, Synthesia is like a deep fake AI tool. It's insanely easy to use. All you have to do is literally you go to Synthesia. There is a free option and a paid option. The free option gives you the chance to make very short, free movies. I'm going to show you a little taste right now live. It'll take literally 60 seconds to make one. But a little bit like the Adobe Creator Character Animator, students can create a digital representation of what they're trying to say, a digital voice for themselves. Now, the big difference here is because it's deep fake, what you create is something that looks very much like a real person. You actually just provide the text. So if you're someone who maybe English is not your first language and you maybe can type the language but not speak the language, you'd be able to use this tool. If you're someone who perhaps I know back in the classroom days, I had one student who was not non-verbal, but very close to non-verbal, but could write very comfortably. He would have been able to use this tool very, very successfully to do oral presentations. So a tool like this where we can utilize the AI of deep fake technology to create something that increases accessibility for students so that they can be able to talk and present, I think more power to it. In this case, it's got about 60 different languages that you can use. So if you're a high school teacher who are actually teaching different languages, this tool might be able to be what you want. You've got about 40 different avatars. You can put different backgrounds. I'm going to show you just how easy it is right now. So if I go to the website, just here, I'm literally going to click create the free AI. Obviously, it's relatively limited because it's the free version. The only one you get to have in the free version is this lovely fake, deep fake person called Anna. But you can see over here on the right-hand side, there's a whole bunch of different avatars you can choose from. You can put different backgrounds. You can have different color schemes, etc., etc. You can even dub in graphs and all sorts of things. But you literally just need to come over here, type in the text that you want. Hi, Aaron and Tim and the Adobe family, and I can keep going. There's a limit that what you can do with the free one. You hit continue. It generates the video. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to stop sharing that one, and I'll actually share with you a video that I made a few seconds ago. So let me bear with me for a moment. I'll just stop sharing that, and I'm going to share the screen that actually has the finished product, and you'll be able to see it in action. So here's Anna talking for me. We've just got a few seconds of her speaking.
Hi, Aaron, Tim, and all the Adobe family. I hope you like the AI video that Brett made for you.
So nice and simple, but I just think it has incredible potential for accessibility to help make our classes a lot more inclusive. But beyond that, it's just a hell of a lot of fun. Like I said, there's a very simple free version. There's a lot more if you get the paid version, but great tool, crazy easy to use. Back to you, Timmy.
Brett, I'll get you to do that video again because when you shared and unshared, we didn't actually see the video. So I'll get you to play that again for us.
No worries, no worries. My apologies. Here we go.
Hi, Aaron, Tim, and all the Adobe family. I hope you like the AI video that Brett made for you.
That is freaky.
Isn't it cool?
Amazing. Very, very impressed.
Look, super easy. And you'd probably use it in many times. You use it for a lot of the reasons you would use Character Animator. But then because it has that really lifelike, deep fake sort of sense, there's a little bit extra features, I guess, extra usability as well. So something a little bit different.
There you go. Some interesting comments that have come through about using it for students who have got special needs. And Anastasia, our new Adobe Education leader, is saying, is it possible to add your own photo as an avatar?
Look, I think because it's such a quick, fast, they've got a whole bunch of preset deepfake avatars. Like I said, 40 plus. No, I think there's maybe 60 plus avatar models. So you don't actually get to use you. There are established ones. That's probably because of the simplicity and the usability of the product. So it's not there. There are more expensive, fancier tools that do that, but it's crazy easy to use.
Amazing. That's great. Thank you, Brett. Anastasia, if you're looking for a product that will do a representation of you, Adobe Character Animator now has a free tutorial within it that actually allows you to convert your own face into a puppet and to create your own puppets. There's little guides on how to do that within Character Animator, so that's probably worth checking out. Brett, thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to have you with us, and we look forward to having you again. I think on the 17th of August, you'll be back with us.
Ooh, I'll have to hunt around for something special for then too.
Good idea. Thanks, mate.
You're watching Inject Creativity Live with Tim Kitchen and Aaron Raithke.
Wow, we have a couple of special announcements for New South Wales and Victorian teachers about some opportunities for students this year.
Adobe is running a series of Adobe Creativity Challenges for New South
like
Wales and
Aaron's
Victorian students. Oh, well, I can hear you fine, Tim.
Yeah, good. You're just coming in and out there, Aaron. You might be
okay. We'll have to check the recording because I can see and hear you fine. So Adobe is running a series of Adobe Creativity Challenges for New South Wales and Victorian students in years 5 to 9.
Adobe Creativity Challenges are all about students working with a team to design and share a digital solution based on a brief from an organization or a global problem.
So find out more at adobe.ly/challenges YR5TO9. The digital solutions are made with Adobe's amazing creativity tools and are usually a short video, a mobile app design, or a web page. This is a great way for students to learn Adobe tools and develop a range of important collaboration, digital literacy, communication, problem solving, and creativity skills.
And just this week, Aaron, I started the New South Wales Challenge for Term 2, and we have 1,200 students who have registered for the challenge for this week, and they'll be submitting their work to me on Monday to be showcased on Tuesday. And we did the Victorian one last week, so it's really terrific to see so many students and teachers and schools getting involved in these challenges. Now, if you're a year 9 to 12 student, from Victoria or New South Wales, as well as any teacher from anywhere in the world, you're invited to register for a special 2.5-day Adobe Premiere Pro workshop during the Easter holidays.
And this is another great opportunity to spend quality time learning a great industry standard application.
This is a free and online intensive workshop that will also involve prizes for some lucky students.
So look up adobe.ly/video-workshop22 to find out more about the Adobe Holiday Video Challenge Workshop. And remember, it's being held with Dr. Tim Kitchen from Adobe on April 11 to 14 during the Easter holidays.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of Inject Creativity Live. with Tim Kitchen and Erin Raithke.
If you're on Facebook and you're not already a member of the Australasian Adobe Education Community Facebook group, please join us via facebook.com/groups/AUSAEL.
This is a great way to keep regularly involved with Adobe and education and the wider community.
Let's bring our guests and Jerry back up onto the screen for the farewell. Our next Inject Creativity Live event will be on Wednesday, the 23rd of March.
And Adobe Education Leader Adrian Brooke from Melbourne will be our AEL presenter, and our thought leader will be the amazing Peter Hutton, co-founder and director at Future Schools Alliance.
Do we have a slide for that, Jerry? So we can see lovely faces. There we go. There we go. Advertising the next one in a couple of weeks' time. For those watching the recording of this episode, join us live for this one coming up on the 23rd. It's always much more fun and interactive when you're with us live.
And for those of you who are watching live right now, get ready to move to adobe.ly/edu-meet-APAC for our brief fireside chat, and we will see you all at the next episode.
Special thank you to Jerry and Erin for helping to put this show together.
And a special thank you to Emma, Brett, and Juliet for their contributions to this episode.
Any final words of wisdom from our guests? We're missing Brett. He's disappeared on us. So, Juliet, any final words of wisdom from you?
I would just say stay dry. Please look after each other and look after yourselves as well if you're suffering any sort of hardship with this rain episode. And I wish everybody a wonderful month until we catch you again.
Thanks, Juliet. Brett's joined us again. Any words of wisdom from you?
No, but just maybe remember to spend time with your loved ones. I was just on fatherly duties just then. Walked off screen, troubleshooting things for Saturday sport. But like I know there's been lots of wild weather and all that sort of stuff. Juliet, I know you've been pretty heavily hit by it, but to all the people who have been hit by it, obviously yesterday as well being International Women's Day, lots of things to remember, lots of people to pay respect to. So I guess sharing love with all those people in your circle is very important.
Thanks, Brett. And finally from you, Emma?
I'm going to follow the wellbeing trend, and just as teachers, I think we need to make sure that we are looking after ourselves as well as those that we are responsible for. So take care, everyone, and stay well.
Thank you so much, Emma. Thank you, everybody. Give us all a wave goodbye as Rob the Robot will be signing off for us. And hopefully we'll see you at the fireside chat. All the best, folks. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of Inject Creativity Live. For those who are watching live, join us now via adobe.ly/edu-meet-APAC for an informal, non-recorded fireside chat to meet and interact with our presenters and other audience members. During this informal chat, you will be able to complete the feedback form and apply for a professional development certificate. If you are not watching this live, join us live next time. Use this QR code or link to find out about dates and topics. And use this QR code and link to find out about other Adobe in Education professional learning opportunities. On behalf of the Adobe in Education team, keep being creative.